So we are
डिस्टर्बेंस
live.
किस तरफ से आ रहा है?
जी निखिल, we are live now.
Uh, we are facing certain disturbance. Kindly, other members, please mute yourself. And
मैं म्यूट करता हूँ सबका.
So I'm starting, sir.
जी.
Good evening, everyone. This is CA Nikhil Sisdeva. Welcome you all to the fourth day of four-day webinar series on transfer pricing. I, on behalf of Team CASA, welcome you all to this wonderful session. Till now, for the first 3 days, we have learned on the first day overview of transfer pricing. Second day, the methods through which we compute arm's length prices. Third day, we discuss about the 3CEB report and other things which are written in Income Tax Rule 1962. And today, which is one of the most important part of the webinar, which is impact of COVID on transfer pricing. So we have faced a lot of changes nowadays because of COVID-19, and we have to see what impact it will bring on transfer pricing and its ancillary things. So for this, today, we have with us CA Prakash Sinha ji and CA Sachin Sinha ji, who will be deliberating the session. And along with me, again, CA Asha ji would be moderating the session, and the roots of this webinar, CA Sumit Garg ji, NIRC member, is along with us. I welcome you all, sir.
Thank you.
So, starting with the session, I would like to first introduce our extreme panelists with us, CA Prakash Sinha ji. Prakash Sinha ji is having an experience more than 23 years in the field of taxation and other fields. During this time, he has developed himself as taxation advisory and litigation services, business advisory services, management consulting services, and many other. He has got experience in FAMA, corporate law matter, taxation matters. He is member of research study group constituted by NIRC of ICI on the international taxation and WTO matters. He has successfully completed certificate course of ICI on the subject of international taxation and TP, diploma in information system audit, that is DISA. We are very proud to have such a learned personality with us. I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of Team CASA. Along with him, we have CA Sachin ji, who is also a fellow member of ICI. He is also a great expert in the field of income tax, and he has deliberated many of the webinars and seminars on GST as well as taxation. He has been a part of CASA and deliberating many webinars on our platform, and we are truly blessed to have you, sir. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Team CASA. Now, I would like to ask and request CA Sumit Garg ji to kindly address us all with a formal welcome address. CA Sumit, sir.
Thank you, Nikhil bhai, for coordinating this 4-day transfer pricing series along with Asa Sharma ji. Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you, sir.
And my elder brother CA Prakash Sinha ji, speaker of the day, along with CA Sachin Sinha ji, my good friend, and with me always in this CASA platform and various other platform. So once again, welcome to both of you. एंड सर, जैसा कि आपको पता है सचिन भाई कि हम ये 4 दिन का जो कोर्स चल रहा था, इसमें आज 4th डे है. कहीं ना कहीं कोविड रिलेटेड जो इम्पैक्ट है ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग पर, उसकी एडजस्टमेंट, उससे रिलेटेड जो भी इशू है, ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग इस साल किस तरह करना है, क्या इम्पैक्ट आने वाला है, इसकी लास्ट डे स्टडी करके इस टॉपिक को क्लोज करेंगे. तो वी हैव विद अस एल्डर ब्रदर प्रकाश सिन्हा जी, who will be deliberating on this topic, and Sachin ji will be moderating all the things, and along with Asa Sharma ji. So thank you once again to both of you. Now I request Sachin ji, want to speak before Prakash sir.
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Sumit ji, Nikhil ji. Till now we have already discussed the applicability of transfer pricing methods, reporting pattern, filing methods and documentation. But what is important in the current scenario is understanding that the changing environment of business. And in this changing environment of business, reporting is absolutely a different ballgame. So whatever we have learned so far, it is all important. But this year, we have also to learn that how the effect of COVID-19 will take place in the reporting in our study report. So in this regard, I feel that Prakash Sinha is the excellent person who can guide us that how to report in this regard. So without wasting time, I'd like to go to Prakash ji to start deliberation.
प्रकाश सर अनम्यूट कर लीजिए.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Sumit ji, Nikhil ji, Asa ma'am, Sachin ji, for giving me this wonderful opportunity and platform to discuss one of the very important topic. And this topic is the impact of the COVID.
Sound echo हो रहा है प्रकाश सर.
Yes, I will try my.
हाँ एक बार.
आपके लैपटॉप पर ओपन है क्या यूट्यूब चैनल?
Yes, it is there.
हाँ, वहां पर म्यूट कर लीजिए.
मैं ऐसा करता हूँ, I will switch off the laptop here and I will start with the mobile only.
Okay sir.
या लैपटॉप पर आप म्यूट कर सकते हैं, फिर बेटर हो जाएगा. आप देख लिए.
Is it okay right now?
जी,
Yes, sir.
जी सर.
Okay, chalo, thank you. So I will start again. Thank you, Sumit ji, Asa ji, Nikhil bhai, and Sachin ji for giving me this wonderful opportunity, an excellent platform to discuss one of the important topic here, which is related to COVID. In fact, this topic is nothing to explain. Everyone is feeling that how the COVID has impacted all the business. And if the business is impacted, naturally the whole system will be impacted, whether it is a ITR filing, whether it is a return, or whether it is a TP study report here. If we see the transfer pricing is actually a report on the business only. It is about the business here, and it talks about how a SSC is performing in the business. We know that we have the profit loss account, we have the balance sheet, we have other report also, but the transfer pricing study report, and that I feel that everyone has learned, and last 3 days session about the TP, like Nikhil ji has explained that in the first session it was about the introduction part, how to calculate the ALP. Second part was about the learning of the methods, and the third part of the filing of the 3CP. Fourth is about the impact on this transition. This topic has been deliberated at every stage. It is not that only this stage, but it is being, this topic is such as that I am going through lot of study paper, not from the Indian tax authority, but from the OECD also. And OECD is very much concerned about this part here. This COVID impact has disturbed the international tax arena. How it has disturbed the international tax arena, I will just like to give one of the example here, and which is very basic example here. And if we understand this from an example, then it will be good for us. Take a case here, a non-resident which has come to India, and he has stayed for the purpose of 165 or 170 days, and he was about to leave on 25th of March. He had a flight to USA on 25th of March. Hello. He had a flight on 25th of March. But due to this COVID, all the international flight get cancelled. And he is living in India. And after that, he has crossed 182 days in India. Whether this non-resident will become a resident in India, whether if he will become a resident of India, what will be the tax implication on that one? From this question, if we understand, we will understand. I'm starting from an individual, and after that, I will take it towards a different prospect of an individual. And when we'll take a different prospect of an individual, we will understand how it is going to impact. You must have seen in the case of one of the famous Delhi High Court case, where then SSC, where the non-resident has come to India, but his passport was impounded by the CBI due to any reason. And after that, his visa was also impounded, passport and visa both were impounded. And after that, he has crossed the number of days in India. And the income tax department thought that, okay, since he has crossed the number of days of 182 days, this person should be treated as a resident. In that special case, the Honorable Delhi High Court has said, no, this person didn't stay voluntarily in India since his passport was seized by the CBI due to any reason. So even if that exceeds 182 days, that person should not be treated as a resident of India. That was one of the particular case, but this case is a unprecedented situation. Here, a person has come to India due to COVID, this flight is not going back, and he is not able to go. So what will happen? What will the impact? Whether that person will be treated as a resident or whether that person will be treated as a non-resident. This question was in the mind of the OECD, and the OECD issued the clarification that if due to this unprecedented situation, if some person has stuck up in any country, for that purpose, his residential status should not be disturbed. This means that he should not be treated as a resident of that country where he has stuck up. Okay. The CVT has also clarified this position, and they have stated that for the purpose of 1920, mind the language, they have stated that for the purpose of 1920, if some person who has come to India and his flight was between the 22nd of March to 31st of the March, and if he is not able to go back in that situation, we will not treat this stay in India for the purpose of residency. Okay. But that is about the period of 1920. That's the financial year 1920. But right now it has extended. Right now we in the June, April, May, and June. The international flight is not working. It is not in operation. What will happen if it is in India? What will happen in India? The second question arises here. If that person has come to India, if that person has stayed in India, and if a person is servicing his employer while working from home in India, so whether that person, that individual can be treated as a PE, if that person can be treated as a PE, whether that foreign company will be liable to tax for the stay here. If the the person who has stuck up in India has entered into some agreement on behalf of the non-resident, whether that person will become an agency fee. So there are a lot of questions that is coming right now. Service fee, agency fee, everything here. Another situation that is coming right now, where some installation project is going on, some installation contract is going on. We know that for the purpose of installations or the site fee, generally in the OECD contract, it is 1 year period, or in the case of the UN model, it is 6 month period. But due to this COVID, the work has stuck up, the period has exceeded from the 180 days or 1 year. Whether that installation become the installation P, which was not earlier supposed to be P, whether that will become a P. If that will become a P, what will the impact? Or whether this COVID period of 90 days, I think that it started from the 23rd March lockdown, and right now it is going on, and I don't know up to when it will go. Whether this period has to be added, or whether this period has to be subtracted for the purpose of the calculation of the P. Why I'm talking about the P? Because it is one of the important factors that will come here for the purpose of determination of the P. And if the P is determined, then P attribution rule will come. And when the P attribution rule will come, it will be for the purpose of then the transfer pricing will apply. So everything is connected with the transfer pricing. It was just a simplistic example that I have quoted right now. Take another example, which I'm trying to say. If Sachinji, can you go to the first page here? First page of my presentation. Next page. Yes. I have tried to keep this presentation very specific and to the point here. What is my presentation? That how the COVID has impacted. We know that COVID has impacted all the business, all the social as well as the commercial life of a person, and it has impacted both the side of the supply chain as well as the demand side. Supply side of the supply side disruption and the demand side disruption. I will tell you how it has been impacted. If we see the GDP factor, and you know that after the lockdown, which was started on 23rd of March, how the GDP has gradually dropped down. Earlier, our estimate was around 6 to 7% growth here. Now we are in the trajectory here, where we will land into a contraction, that is at minus 3 to 4 point here. So GDP is not going to, in fact, grow. GDP will slow down here, and in fact, not a slowdown. There will be contraction in the GDP here. Our GDP will come down by 3 to 4%. How long this impact is going to take place, we don't know. It's totally uncertain. Whether it will be 1 month, whether it will be 2 months, whether it will be 3 months, how long it will be impacted, it is totally. No one knows right now. What will be the new normal? We have to understand what will the new normal. How it is impacted the business. If you take the example of the PISA, when the March 23 or March 23rd, when the PISA was there, and the PISA delivery system in the restaurant system, it was temporarily closed, and it was closed till the month of the last May, and there's a 2 months or 3 months disruption was there. till the time there was no business at all. What will happen if the pizza person has to give the royalty to the know-how to a associated enterprises who is in Italy? Take an example like if there is a pizza called XYZ pizza, or you can say that Daily Delicious pizza, and the Daily Delicious pizza is working in Delhi and it is delivering the pizza in India. And for this purpose, he has to pay the royalty to their counterpart in Italian for their know-how. And if the royalty is linked with the sales, first of all, royalty is linked with the sales. How much royalty will be impacted? How much the sales has impacted? Second case, if the foreign associate says that, no, I have nothing to do with your sales, I will take the royalty based on the monthly basis. This means the daily, which is the daily pizza, has to supply has to give the royalty even if there is no sale in India because of the lockdown. Under this situation, what will have the impact here? How the TPO who used to take the case earlier and he used to give the benefit of the, suppose that last year in the year 2019 or in the year 2020 or in the year 2021 right now. In the year 2019-20, there was a growth of, or you can say that there was a net profit of around 5% after the paying the royalty. In the 1920, it will not be that much here because of the slowdown as well as the lockdown. And in the 2020, 2021, it will not have that much of profit here. The profit will be totally disrupted, and I feel that it will go in the loss. Under this situation, how the A will behave, whether the A will ask the foreign A or how the Indian company will ask the foreign A to sit down and renegotiate the royalty contract or royalty agreement, or whether it will be paid based on the sales basis, whether it will be paid on the monthly basis, what will have the impact on the, if the foreign expatriate has come for this purpose in India, what will have the impact if there was just something shared services was there, in everything that will be linked to this COVID effect, and everything is going to be disturbed right now. Take another case. Why I'm trying to say that I am keeping this topic more interactive rather than on the PPT presentation here. Supply chain disruption. We know that due to this COVID impact, due to this lockdown, the factory was closed, the worker was not coming to the factory, the migrant labor was moving to their hometown, and foremost, there was no supply of the raw material, nothing else here. There was nothing. So there was an undercapacity utilization. There was a total disruption in the supply chain. If there's a total disruption in the supply chain, and if we have to pay to the A based on certain ratio, like whether it is sales, whether it is a sales ratio, whether it is a, if it is a cost plus ratio, how we have to renegotiate the contract, we have to see that part here. Take another case here. I'm giving you the more cases here, supply chain cases here. And after that, we will come to the financial transition also. After that, there's a demand side disruption is there. Demand side disruption is that lot of companies which are in India who used to a distribution model, who used to follow a distribution model, and due to this COVID impact, there is no cash flow. Liquidity has totally dried down. When the liquidity has totally dried down, every sales will be impacted. If the every sales is impacted here, how this distribution model is going to work? whether the distributor is going to be compensated based on the percentage of the supply of the goods here, or whether the distributor has to be, or the distributor PL has to be checked from the gross profit basis or from the net profit basis. Take a case here. Very simple case. There is a foreign company which is distributing a product. Suppose that he is into the business of distribution of the high-end diamond here. The Indian company, which is a distributor, imports the diamond and sells the diamond in India. Earlier, before the COVID situation, he has a good setup of the customer base, which he was to whom they were supplying, and they were earning a good profit margin. He used to prepare its books of account on the net profit basis, and on the net profit there was a good profit here. So the department was accepting the return, and the department there was no problem at all. The 3CV was going on. Now, what will happen? If a foreign company here supplies the diamond here, and the Indian companies who receive the diamond and is a distribution business, he will not able to sell the business. He will not able to sell the diamond to the customer here, because there is a low liquidity here, a liquidity crisis in India. No cash flow no cash flow in the hands of the customer. Under this situation, his sales will be automatically down. How he is going to prepare a profit loss account? And if he is going to prepare a profit loss account, whether the TP that was used to do on the TNM basis, whether that will be done on the resale price margin or resale price RPM method, because we go that, okay, since the Indian company has earned a gross profit on account of that part here, so on the basis of gross profit, my transaction is on the arm's length basis. Because when we see the gross profit, there may be some gross profit, but there cannot be any net profit here because of the COVID impact here, because of the high advertisement cost, or because of the high discount also. There can be a situation here that gross profit is there, but there is no net profit here. Under this situation, how the TP is going to be looked into this matter, how the TPO is going into this look this matter. Another case which is giving rise to the issue. Take a case. I'm giving by the example here, and from this example you will appreciate how it is going to impact here. Take a case. There's a foreign company and there's an Indian company. Foreign holding company is 100% shareholder in the Indian company, and the shareholder and the foreign company has given loan to the Indian company, and the Indian company is paying the interest on this loan to the foreign company. What will have the impact? Due to this crisis, COVID crisis, the Indian company will not able to service the loan. Indian company will not able to ask for to repay the loan, or Indian company will not able to pay the interest. If that will not able to pay the interest, can the foreign company say that, okay, I want the interest even if you are not earning any profit? Or if the foreign company says that I want my cash flow as a income here, or my interest here, what will happen to the thin capitalization, which talks about that if the interest payment is more than 30% of the EBITDA, then there is a certain disloyances are there. So that issue has to be kept in mind. Under this situation, whether the Indian company will approach to the foreign company for the purpose of converting the ECB into the equity. First of all, whether the converting the ECB into the equity. Second issue can be there. Can there be a moratorium on the interest payment? Third portion can be there. Can there be part equity? Can there be a part loan? Fourth issue can be there. Can the interest rate be reduced? Or there are a number of situations that will arise here. And in all these cases, the intercompany arrangement that was there right now, till now, that intercompany arrangement has to be looked into afresh. I am facing one of the situation. I will like to share very real life situation here. There was an Indian company which is situated in the SEZ, and this Indian company is the subsidiary of the foreign company. And till now, the Indian company gets a complete cost plus markup based on the supply that it does to the foreign company. This means till now, the Indian company works like a contract manufacturer, and the foreign company compensates the contract manufacturer as a full cost contract manufacturer on the cost per certain margin, take it case the 5%, 8% or 10%. Till now, the foreign company was compensating the 10% cost plus 10%, full cost plus 10%, and there was no problem with the Indian TP right now. The TP assessment was going through. Now, the foreign company says that due to the problem in the market, I cannot buy all the products from you. What will happen if the foreign company cannot buy all the products from you? What the Indian company will do? Indian company says that, okay, if you cannot buy, should I reduce my capacity to 50% or 60% or 70%? If I will reduce the 50%, I won't be able to meet my fixed cost also, and I will be into the operational loss. Under this situation, how the TPO is going to relook the file? Take another case. The foreign company says the Indian company that, hey, look, I am responsible for only 50%. For the rest of the 50%, you do your own marketing, you do your own business promotion, and you try to sell that product across the world wherever you are. So can we say that for the 50%, I'm a full-fledged manufacturer, and for the 50%, I'm a contract manufacturer? How the TP is going to be done here? How the cost plus ratio has to be decided with this fact here? And right now, we are working on the intercompany agreement where both of the party wants to renegotiate the agreement here. So there's a disruption in all the field here. I have given one of the example. There's an n number of examples that can be given here. I have given like ECB is there. Capital reduction is one of the issues here. A lot of companies are approaching for the purpose of reduction of the capital. Some company is approaching for the purpose of more dividend. Some company is approaching for the purpose of the buyback also. Like in one of the cases, is there that a company, the foreign company, which is the holding company, wants the Indian company should buy back the shares because there is no point of keeping that much of cash into this company. Take a case, there is a foreign company and there is an Indian company. Foreign company has contributed to the share capital of India, 100% shareholding into the ICO. If the ICO has some profit, it can pay the dividend. And we know that due to the finance, from the Finance Act 2020, there is no dividend distribution tax. So whatever the dividend that will be paid to the foreign company, it will subject to a TDS under 195 and read with TTA. And after that, the foreign company can take the input tax, foreign tax credit of that part. That's a very simple case here. But the company does not have the accumulated profit, but the foreign company wants that the share capital should be reduced here. In that case, the ICO wants to go for the buyback of the share. What will happen is that if they go for the buyback of the share, whether the buyback of the share will be subject to the same treatment as a dividend, how it is going to be impacted here. In some cases, there is a consolidation also, because the foreign shareholder who used to be a promoter, who used to be an individual, Now they want to create a company in foreign company, and they want to transfer their holding from a individual promoter to a company promoter, because in the case of the company promoter, the rate of the income tax is lesser on the dividend rather than on the individual promoter. So with this, lot of opportunities also coming, and disruption has also come. So if we can say that with this starting, I can say that this COVID disruption has created a lot of opportunity to think fresh, or to think again and again on all the existing arrangement of the transfer pricing. We have to sit down and we have to relook all the agreements that if associated enterprises or the Indian company has entered with your foreign company, and what is the method of compensation here. It is one way that I have just told about you about one of the cases where the FDI is there. But there are a lot of cases where the ODI also there. The Indian company is the holding company, and the subsidiary is sitting outside India, and the Indian company is getting the royalty from the subsidiary. Or Indian company has lended the money, or Indian company has guaranteed the money to the subsidiary. What will have the impact on that part here? So both the way we have to see whether it is an outbound investment or it is an inbound investment. We have to see the impact of the transfer pricing in every transaction here. lot of foreign company which has the project office in India, they are winding up the project office because there are disruption in the contract arrangement with some client here in India, or because of the long gestation period or with the long working period here. They are not able to serve this one here. Like I have been approached by one of the client here saying that when the contract was awarded to them, they have the project office. After that, they have a project office in India, and this lockdown period have extended their cost also. How they have to recover the cost from the client. It is one part of the story. This is not the complete story here. So we can understand that how much opportunity it is creating for the purpose of purpose. Apart from so every disruption has two things here. Business, but there is a opportunity for the professional also. Liquidity issue, what we have discussed here. Liquidity issue comes from the supply side here, from the demand side here, and we know that due to the liquidity crisis, there will be poor demand, and when there will be poor demand, the Indian company or the Indian associated enterprises will not able to sell this purpose here. So what will happen? Particularly that will raise the issue in the case of distributor model. When we are going to discuss about the distributor model, then we will see that when a foreign company or a foreign company or foreign holding company is supplying the goods to India for the purpose of onward distributions here, sales and distribution model, and the distributor is compensated based on their services here, because distributor is not compensated based on the cost plus basis here, or the distributor they will be providing the services, so they will be providing on their services certain markup will be added here, and that markup will lead into the gross profit, but ultimately will lead to the negative profit here, low tax profit here, or low net profit here. Another issue that will also come here, business process transformation, that I have already discussed about. Lot of restructuring is taking place, like capital, like ECB is being converted into the equity, or the equity, whoever the equity holder was there, they are consolidating a position in India. We must be knowing that due to the crash of the market or valuation of the company in India, the value of the share has drastically come down. So for this purpose, lot of foreign company is pumping their money into India to consolidate their position. Take a case here. Before the starting of the COVID here, if a company had a 60% or 50% in the stake in the Indian company, after this COVID here, when the US dollar rate has come to around 76 or 75 or 76, and the valuation of the company has gone down, then the foreign company is pumping their money for the purpose of acquisition of more and more share into this into this Indian company. What is taking place here? They are asking the Indian who are holding the shares, or they are asking the third party who are holding the shares into to sell off their shares so that they can consolidate their position. It is one of the aspects which is going on. When we see that our foreign reserve has crossed the 500 billion, we must understand that if the impact, if there is a lot of opportunity of India, lot of opportunity in India, why this FDI is coming into India, how this foreign exchange is coming into India, when there is no export or when the export is coming down, what is the source of foreign exchange that is coming into India, and we will find that lot of foreign reserve or foreign reserve is contributed by the foreign exchange, which has coming from the FDI route, and this FDI route is for the purpose of consolidating their position into India. And recent circular about the more than acquisition of more than 10%, particularly to block China, it was created for this purpose only, because the valuation of an Indian company is coming down. So there is a lot of restructuring is taking place here. So for the purpose of restructuring, we have discussed the conversion of the loan into equity, change in the shareholding. Another part that is coming, delisting. Lot of Indian company which were listed till now after this crash of the stock market, they are trying to delist their company in India. Why they are trying to delist? Because listing has a high cost. Now they have understand that the valuation of the company is no more higher. There may not be much more transaction on the stock exchange. There are very few players on the stock exchange. They feel that the market will come down, or there is very less activity on the stock exchange. Then they have tried to delist their share from the stock exchange. After their delisting, they can try to increase their stake into that part here, because after then there will be no SEBI guideline that will apply to them here. So lot of restructuring is taking place into that part here. Business process transformation. Yes, process transformation is very much important. Earlier we have seen that in the case of a company here, transfer pricing here, if they suppose that an Indian company is a service provider, the manufacturing is taking place in China, the R&D is taking place in India, HR is taking place outside India. But now every company is trying to rework their position. They are trying to see why this company is required or not required here. Take a case of the R&D services here. I have seen a lot of R&D services which used to take place in India, whether it is a IT-based R&D or whether it is a pharma-based R&D or different R&D. Now with the foreign company, every foreign company is trying to analyze here why they are, because the unemployment rate is more higher in USA, or there is a lot of unemployment is somewhere else here. So they are just finding out where to do the R&D. Can they shift their R&D base from India to outside India? What will happen if they will shift from the R&D base from India to outside India? Whether the India is going to get some compensation. If they are going to get some compensation, how far it has to be seen. Whether it is a temporary disruption or whether it is a permanent disruption. Whether that will be reduce the flow of the work in India. All this will come into the play due to the COVID situation. Sachinji, can you come to the next slide? Supply chain disruption. Supply chain is the shutdown of the production capacity. First, there is a shutdown. We know that after 25th, there was a log of shutdown in the factory of the factory. The factory was totally shut. There was no work at all. And after the window, we know that due to the COVID, some area was marked as a red zone, some area was marked as a green zone, some area was marked as an orange zone. In the orange zone, you can do the business, but with certain restriction, 30% capacity or 10 or 25% capacity. In the red zone, we cannot work. In the green zone, we can work with some restriction here. Somewhere there is a night curfew, there is a restriction in the night. The another part is there, even if the factory has started, there is no labor who can work into that part. So there is an underutilization of the capacity. If there is an underutilization of the capacity, or there is a shutdown of the factory, or the shutdown of the production facility, how an Indian company, which is a subsidiary of which is a AE of the foreign company, which is a manufacturing company, can have the transfer pricing? Whether it can compare itself from another company here. Take a case here. There's a pharma company which is coming into the red zone here, and this pharma company is not able to work into some aspect here. Although I know the pharma company impact is something different. Take a case that there is a mobile factory here, mobile manufacturing company is there. This company is a subsidiary of a foreign company. This mobile company one mobile company is into the red zone, one mobile company is the orange zone, one mobile company is the green zone here. Due to this COVID impact, every company was into shutdown mode. After this COVID impact, few production unit has started. When the few production unit has started, what will happen? Some red zone is not working because of the restriction, government restriction. Green zone is working, but the staffs are not coming. Orange zone is working. Orange zone is willing to work, but he cannot work after more than 30% capacity. So there is a restriction here, and after that he cannot go for the 2 time or 3 time here, or this one night shift, or earlier when the Indian company used to work in the triple shift here, now they are struggling to work on the 1 shift here. When this 1 shift is going to work here, so the production process is totally in the shutdown mode, or it has not revived into that mode. How it is going to impact the business here, and if that is going to the impact of the business, how that is going to impact the intercompany arrangement. So our discussion is, if you see that our discussion is main on the 3 parts here: how it is going to impact the business, how, if it is impacting the business, how it is going to impact the associated into the transition with the associated enterprises. If that is impacting the transition with the associated enterprises, how it will be captured in the books of account, and how it will be justified with the TPO here. So these are the 3 issues that we should discuss here for the purpose of restriction on the import and export here. We know that after the COVID, there is a restriction on the import here, and only the essential goods can be imported here. But so particularly for the purpose of distribution, lot of goods cannot be imported here. If there is so much of the restrictions, how the distributor model which was there, or how a production model, how a production system which was based on the imported raw material or imported some material here, that can work it out here. Whether it may happen that due to the lack of the raw material, the production process cannot take place here. So it will have a big impact on that part here. The government has given a restriction on only they are allowing the import of the essential goods. They are not allowing the import of the non-essential goods here. So how it will going to impact here? Delay in the target and deliverables due to social distancing norms. If you can take the office of any chartered accountant, but you start from the any chartered accountant, I feel that the chartered accountant is working with the maximum, whoever the chartered accountant firm has started, they are working at 25% or 30% capacity here. Maximum to 30% capacity, particularly in the big town right now. In Bombay, the chartered accountant is not, they are working from their work from home here. So due to the social distancing, Even if they are work from home, there is an impact on the effective output here. Similarly, in the case of the service industry, every service industry has suffered a big jolt here. And we are seeing in the economic times, or we are seeing in the daily newspaper here, how the PMI of the service PMI has reduced here. Not only the production, not only the manufacturing PMI, but the service PMI has also reduced here. So that is going to the impact here. Shortage of laborers. Yes, we know that due to the COVID impact, labor shortage is one of the big problem here. I know that a lot of my clients here who want to start their factory, but they cannot start their factory because of the unavailability of the staffs here or unavailability of the migrant laborers here. Because right now the laborers who used to do the work here, they have migrated to their hometown. Or if they have come, come to the hometown, or if they are willing to join the process, they cannot come into that much number because of the social distancing that you have to follow. Under this situation, how it is going to impact the business? If it is going to impact the business, naturally it's going to impact your contract with the associated enterprises. So one of the issues that has to be discussed, that part here. Additional cost on the preventive safety measures here, like sanitizer, mask, and gloves here. We all know that due to this COVID here, we have to not only from the social distancing, but we have to be the personal protection equipment is one of the important part right now. Like sanitizer is the new norms here. Mask is the new norms here. A lot of companies supplying the mask to their employees here. How it is going to impact that part here, that we have to see. A spike in logistic cost. We know that there is no train service. Still, there is no full-fledged train service here. In Delhi itself, there is no metro service here. The public transportation is very low here, or the logistic services are very low. In such a case, what will happen? We know that lot of restriction on the interstate transportation is being taken place here. If suppose that you have to send some goods from Delhi to Mumbai, it has to cross the 6th border, and due to this COVID situation, it is going to be difficult for them to move here. Sachinji, can you come down? Next slide. Demand side disruption, restriction on the export. Yes, there is a restriction on the export also right now, but right now the export is peaking here. A restriction on the export-oriented units. As I mentioned that lot of export-oriented unit which was there in the free trade zone or in the SEZ unit, or they are not working right now due to the why they are not able to work. First of all, there is a big shortage of the market here. The impact, the COVID impact is not only in India, but it has across the world also. Right now, I know that a lot of clients who has manufactured everything here, but they are not able to ship their goods here to their client who are against the confirm order also, because the client is not willing to take that material due to this COVID situation. So a lot of export order which was about to be materialized, or lot of export order which was supposed to take place has not taken place. And this order, it may happen that this export order which was supposed to be taken place in the month of March itself, it is still lying as a finished goods in the hands of the Indian company. And if it is lying as a finished goods, their valuation may have come down. It may happen they have to rework on that part here before it's again exporting to the foreign company here. So there's a two-way impact that is coming. Once the export has not taken place, when the export has not taken place, they have not able to book their sales. When they are not able to book their sales, there is no cash flow inflow. Second is that when the finished goods is lying in the factory or lying in the warehouse, it has lost its life. Another part is that if they lost its lives, what will happen to their valuation here? Because on the 31st March, when we prepare the books of account, we have to see the valuation issue of all these stocks here. So when these stocks are, when we see that whether this stock is the cost or market value, whichever is lower here you will find that the market value is much lower because of the type of the goods here. If the type of the goods has come down here, they will impact on the profitability of the company, so profitability of the Indian company as a whole here. So valuation issue is one of the important that is coming here. Non-export of the goods, and after the 2 or 3 months when they don't know when they will get a fresh order, or what will happen to the Europe or USA market, whether they are going to allow the import from India. If they will allow the import from India, how far they will able to sell, how the AE will able to respond that part, whether the AE is going to honor the same contract, or this contract will be renegotiated. The quantum that I'm trying to say, that everything has disrupted. Every transaction has to be seen seen as a phrase here. Every intercompany transaction, even the transaction with the E, whether it is for the goods, whether it is for the services, whether it is for the financial transactions, whether it is for the loan, whether it is for the equity, everyone has to be re-looked into this matter. Underutilization of the capacity, I have already discussed that underutilization of the capacity, and it has all the impact on the transfer pricing. We know that for the purpose of the determination of the ALP, we do some adjustment here. What are the adjustment? Well, first of all, there is a quantitative adjustment and there is a qualitative adjustment here. In the qualitative adjustment, we do this adjustment of the capacity here. How this capacity utilization adjustment has to be done here, because the capacity utilization adjustment has to be done in order to make your comparable here, or make yourself to understand who is your comparable here. So capacity utilization, working capital adjustment, these are all going to impact the transfer pricing ALP determination here. Now come to the next here. Liquidity crisis. I have already discussed, but again I will say that how the liquidity crisis has to be depicted here. The collapse of demand, that is demand is right now, you know that there is no demand because there is no money in the hands of the consumer. Because whatever the money they have, the consumer right now, they are preserving the money in the big for their purpose, for the hard days. So everyone is keeping the money with their hands here. Nobody is trying to go into the market. Even you can see that there is a market is there. Even the market is open. There is no customer here. Why? Because the customer wants to keep the cash with itself. Whatever the cash that is there, he wants to keep it with itself here. If there is no customer in the market, there cannot be any liquidity in that. There cannot be liquidity in the market. If there is no liquidity in the market, there cannot be any demand. So there is a 100% collapse. Both the sides, the supply side has also collapsed. The demand side has also collapsed. Supply side has also collapsed due to the production issues. Demand side also collapsed due to the non having the fund in the hands of the consumer here. Because whatever the consumer is there, they are trying to keep their money for the hard days. Suppose that there is a person, if he has some money, he wants to keep the money for the purpose of, right now he will like to keep the money for the purpose of health. He will like to keep the money for the purpose of his medicines. He will like to keep the money for the purpose of insurance. So whatever the primary, or he will like to spend the money for the purpose of foods and for the purpose of groceries here. So the priority has shifted. The priority which was there in the market here. So nobody is going to buy some heavy clothes unless there is some requirement here. The priority has shifted. The priority has come to the foods. First priority is going to the foods and the groceries. Second is right now is the medicines and the health facility. These two sectors are going to have a very good boom here. Other than these two sectors, we can see that how the other sectors are performing here. I have seen one of the newspaper recently. There was a news that the sale of the Parle G has increased manifold here. When the sale of the Parle G has increased manifold, the Parle G may be in the profit here. But in the case of other services or other items, like in the case of the higher end products, the Parle or the company may be struggling. Take a case of the other cases, like a company is manufacturing a bicycle or company is manufacturing a motor vehicle. There is no sale of that motor vehicle, or there is no sale of the two-wheeler, but the company which is making the Parle G, there is a huge sale here. Recently, I've also come to the news here due to the work from home. There's a huge demand of the data. So everything is online right now. When everything is online, the data is most important part here. So everything is right now. We are interacting with you through the Zoom, and we are interacting through the data here. So the data supply, demand of the data from the telecom service provider is on the higher side here, rather than what used to be earlier in the pre-COVID situation here. The more the work from home situation will arrive, the demand of the internet, the demand of the demand of the data is going to high. So we have to go for each business to business. We have to see that how this business or how this sector has performed during this COVID situation. And after this, we have to analyze what is going to be impacted here. Whether if it is going to be impacted, then we have to see how this is going to be impacted. The agreement with the foreign enterprises. If it is naturally going to impacted the foreign agreement with the foreign enterprises, it will have the impact on the transfer pricing. The transfer pricing will not going to the same that it used to be there. The method, the transfer pricing policies, as well as the method is going to change. The policy which was there, like intercompany agreement that we enter, the policy was there to reimburse you cost per system. This policy may not sustain right now into the post-COVID situation. The foreign company will not like to pay or the pay for or go for the full cost plus situation. Rather than they will ask for that, okay, you reduce your capacity, or I will buy for that particular product here. Or they can go for the purpose of order booking or order booking basis rather than full cost plus system here. So everything is going to change here. Next issue is that we have discussed that Satinji, back here. Can you go to back? Yes. Delay in the revenue realization, collapse of demand, revenue realization. We have seen that there is a lot of sales. Even if you try to do it sales here, there is no cash flow that is taking place. There is a high pressure on the cash flow. Revenue is not going to be realized here. Even there can be booking here. So there will be big cash flow here. Recently, we have seen that the government of India has come with around 20% of the GDP as for the purpose of their incentives to the MSME here. But this is confined to the MSME, not with the subsidiary of the foreign company here. So we have to see that how we have to make a differentiation between the MSME and the subsidiary of a foreign company here. Now the situation is the triggering the force demerger clause here. We have seen that a lot of company is not able to honor their contractual arrangement here. What will happen? There will be force majeure contract, or will be. We have seen recently in the case of the IBC, the government has stated that the IBC, there cannot be claim against the company due to the failure in the COVID situation. If a company is not able to pay their debts in the COVID situation, they cannot be raised in the IBC. This means the government is acknowledging, or everything is well acknowledged, that there is a force majeure situation is there. There can be 100 times there can be a failure on the part of both the part here. Today, I have just got one of the news that government is trying to decriminalize the 138 issue of the Negotiable Instrument Act. This means that if there is a bouncing of the check, that is not going to be a criminal cases, that not be the criminal offense under the Negotiable Instrument. So that is one of the issues, because government has seen that a lot of checks has been bounced here recently here. Blockage of the working capital. Working capital, what I have stated here, due to the non-export of the order, or due to the non-supply, or due to the poor demand. Every warehouse is full of the stock, but they are not able to sell the stock because there is no consumer in the market, or even the customer is there, they don't have the cash flow. So there is a blockage of the working capital. If there is a blockage of the working capital, what will happen? We know that for the purpose of the ALP adjustment, or for the purpose of ALP, we have to do the working capital adjustment here. So when we do the working capital adjustment, in the case of tested party, you have to do the working capital adjustment. In the case of the comparable, we have to do the working capital adjustment, and we have to find out what can be the adjustment here. Now this working capital adjustment is going to be play a bigger role here, because every company is suffering their problem here. And it may happen, how you will find the comparable also, because in the case of the comparable, you will find, or we will find, it may happen that comparable is the MSME. The government may not have, government have given some relaxation on that part here. But in the case of our client here, who is the subsidiary of a foreign company, or it is a foreign company P, or the branch office, may not get that part of the relief from the government here. Under this situation, there will be stressed working capital, whereas in the case of the MSC comparable company, there may not be that much of a stress capital. So everything has to be seen, or everything has to be analyzed from the ground reality situation here. Next part, Sachin ji. I have already discussed the moratorium, the loan installment payment here. We need that in the case of the ECB, we have to see that whether the foreign company which has given the ECB to the Indian company, whether there is a moratorium or not. If there is no moratorium, how the loan has to be looked at, loan has to be recorded here. Take a case, very simple case here. Earlier, a company was paying earlier there was a foreign company and an Indian company. The Indian company has taken the loan from the foreign company, and it was paying the interest on the loan to the foreign company. This interest was much less than the 30% of the EBITDA. So there was no thin capitalization issue that was coming to the Indian company. Now, when the profit is reduced, there is no sale also. The profit is reduced here. The EBITDA has come down, and the EBITDA has come down. The interest rate remains the same. Then there will be issue of the 30%. Then there will be issue of the thin capitalization. Under this situation, if there is a more than 30% of the interest payment is there, whether that amount has to be added back or that has to be disallowed, that has to be seen into this concept here. So this moratorium, we have to ask whether can we get a moratorium from the, like here, the bank is giving the moratorium. The RBI has asked the bank to give the moratorium on the principal as well as the percent interest here. Can we similarly ask the moratorium from the foreign AE who has given the ECB to give the moratorium from not only from the interest, from the repayment of the principal also, because of the cash flow situation here. Relaxation of the charges like royalty. As I mentioned, the royalty is going to be impacted a lot here. Those company who are working on who are Indian company who are working on the know-how or the copyright of some foreign company, and they are paying based on some monthly utilization, or they are paying on some sales ratio here. We have to see that how the royalty has to be renegotiated. Whether royalty, first of all, whether royalty rate has to be the same. If the royalty rate has to be, this royalty has to be calculated based on the sales volume. What will be the sales volume here? Because right now, because what will happen, the sales price will not be the same here. The sales price has to be reduced here. What will happen to the reduced sale price here? Whether the royalty has to be based on the quantity, or royalty has to be based on the sale price here. Whether the royalty can be linked with the production, whether royalty can be linked with the capacity, whether royalty can be linked with the time period, all this issue will come here. So the royalty is one of the important aspects which is going to be changed here into the COVID. Intra-group funding. We know that a lot of intra-group funding takes place here. So it will, as I discussed, that funding can be with the equity, funding can be with the loan here. In the case of equity, I have just discussed that the equity capital in the foreign company right now, which is stressed right now, who has given the capital, paid up capital into India, in the Indian ICO company, he will ask for the capital reduction here. Take a case here. There is AFCO, and AFCO has injected the share capital of around 100 crore rupees into India. Suppose that is 100 crore rupees is there, and the 100 crore rupees is the paid up capital of in the company, or there is a capital plus some premium on that capital here. But the Indian company project has not taken place. Indian company, the demand supply has not taken place. But in the same time, Indian company does not have the accumulated profit. But the foreign company wants the money to be back here. So what can be the option? It cannot have the dividend, because then there will be a capital reduction. If there is a capital reduction, what will happen? Where there's buyback of the shares, first of all, there will buyback of the share. If there is a buyback of the shares, what will happen? Can there will be reduction of the capital? That has to be seen. So both the angle that has to be seen. So there is a all the existing intra-group fund in intra-group loans arrangement that has to be seen, that part here. Guarantee issue that also become here. Now come to the next part here. Sanjeev. Temporary restructuring of the supply chain, digital transformation. Yes, very important part is that temporary restructuring of the supply chain. I know that a lot of supply chain will be disrupted. Digital transformation. Now, work from home is going to be a new culture. When everything is going to take place on the online, it may happen that lot of bricks and mortar showroom, which in the mall, they may not sustain here. If they are not sustained, if they are not able to sustain, they have to shift on the online basis here. This means right now, this means online, which was earlier days, which was it was a luxury, but right now the online supply of the goods and online supply of services has become a mandatory part in order to survive. See the lot of, like, if you are selling a pizza, if you are selling a pizza, you want that it should be supplied, it should be booked online. The person should delivery it should be home delivery for the purpose of in pizza here. If you see that lot of service provider here, lot of service provider who comes to your house for the purpose of doing some AC services here. These services are also online services here. You have to book it online. The person will come, the person will do the services, and they will take the money here. So online is the new norms that has to become, and this online that has to become under digital platform. So please understand, these new norms will change. And if these new norms change here, how the business of the sub-Indian company, which was earlier based on the bricks mortar or the distributor company, there will be no more like this type of things here. Like I can see that a lot of books published also. If a foreign company used to publish some books here, so these books used to sell into India, they used to get the royalty. Now all the books are in the form of e-books. No one is buying the book. Everyone buy books here. So these books has to be sold through the whether this books is available through the Amazon, whether these books are Amazon is used to be Kindle. We have to see that part here, because it is going to change here. Now come to the decentralization of the function. It may happen because a lot of going to be change here, restructuring will change here. It may happen they will do some restructuring. And right now, due to this COVID impact, we have to see two things here. A lot of company will be leaving the China. It is anticipated a lot of company will be leaving the China. Whether they move to the Vietnam or Philippines or some low-cost country, or they move to the India, because every restructuring will take place right now. Functional relocation, as I mentioned, that the foreign company is going to relocate themselves. They will re-strategize where to manufacture, where to keep the R&D, and where to keep the sales point here, where to go for the development of R&D. Shifting of operation shifting is going to take place here. Sachin, the next point here. Revamping function, yes. Now coming to we have discussed till now the business aspect here. We are coming to the FAR function here. You know that the FAR analysis is the basic analysis for the transfer pricing purpose. Based on the new concept, based on the new issues here, we have to go that whether this FAR analysis, which was done in the earlier days here, whether the FAR exists the same or not. If the FAR does not exist the same, function is not going to take place in India, the asset is not out there, risk is not there, then we have to again analyze the FAR function, and we have to allocate the profitability based on the FAR function here. So the FAR function, so what are the new things that is coming? Based on the change of the business environment, we have to work out what is the new system that is coming. If the new business system that is coming, we have to understand the new business here. We have, based on the new business system, we have to redraft the new agreement between the foreign company and Indian company. Based on the redrafting of the agreement, we have to redefine the roles of the foreign company and Indian company. Based on the redefining of the role, we have to find out what is that going on, what is the FAR analysis going on. Based on the FAR analysis, we have to go for the profit attribution here. So most of the important, whatever we have discussed till now, that has to be culminated, that has to be figured out in the case of the FAR analysis here. And FAR analysis and adjustment. In many of the cases, we won't be able to number these changes into the adjustment here. We don't know how to value the impact of the COVID here. So if we don't know how to value the impact of the COVID here, how the adjustment will take place, this is going to be a big challenge here. Next slide, Sachinji. Impact of the limited risk entity. As we have discussed, right? Reduction in the remuneration here. Reduction in the remuneration. We know that there is a lot of service company here in India, which is providing the services to the foreign company on the cost plus basis. Means whatever the remuneration and other part that is coming, particularly in the case of IT services here. IT services, that is lot of issue there, and there's all the cost plus basis or the cost plus certain markup here. What will happen, because the employee cost is the major cost here, if there is a reduction in the employee, what will happen here? Whether the department will agree with the same type of reduction in that profitability? Like suppose that in the earlier cases, when the cost was 1,000, the markup was cost plus 20%. So the 20% was the chunk which the department used to see that a profit here. Now the cost will come down. Where the cost will come down, when the cost will come down, the markup will also come down. Where how the income tax department or how the TPO is going to look into this part. Whether the TPO will say that, okay, when the cost has come down, when the commitment has come down, whether you are going to get a compensation from the foreign company, that has to be seen, that has to be looked into. Refining operational cost and extraordinary situation. We have to find out the difference between operational cost and extraordinary situation. These are the things which the COVID has taught us, how to look into the operational cost, how to reduce the operational cost. You know that there's a lot of retrenchment is going on in various places here. Every company is trying to reduce their fixed cost. Every company is trying to reduce their operational cost also, trying to maintain that part here. So we have to see that how it is going to work for the purpose of TP purpose here. Change in the risk profiling, whatever I've already discussed, that due to the FAR reporting, there will be a big change in the FAR analysis. And when they change in the FAR analysis, it will have the impact. Sajinji, can you please change here? Can you please change here? Yes. That is the hybrid. I have already changed here. Contract manufacturing. Yes, contract manufacturing. I have a special point to say that. We know that in the case of the manufacturer, there is a contract manufacturer, there is a full-fledged manufacturer, there is a contract manufacturer, there is a toll manufacturer there. A fixed manufacturer gets it takes the higher risk, so it gets a higher return. But in the case of contract manufacturer and in the case of toll manufacturer, they get a lower return because their risk capacity is much lower. We have seen in the case of the foreign company, particularly in the case of the FDI, in inbound investment, a lot of foreign company has invested in India for the purpose of production here. They have made India as a production hub, and from this production they supply to across the world. And for this production, they compensate the Indian company or the Indian branch in the cost plus basis or the full cost plus basis. So Indian company is not going to take any risk, and they are getting compensation with the full cost markup, full cost plus 10% or 20 or 12%, whatever is there. But now this COVID situation, this is going to change. The foreign company will not going to give you the full cost plus 20% or 12% here. Under this situation, how the TP has to be realigned, the TP analysis has to be rechecked, all the agreement has to be agreement has to be redrafted, and we have to analyze how this Indian company is getting changed. whether this Indian company, which was a contract manufacturer before COVID, can this Indian company can be covered as a full-fledged manufacturer, because the Indian company has to survive, and the Indian company has to survive. They have to sell some product in the market at their own. If that for that capacity, can that Indian company be called that I'm a full-fledged manufacturer? If I'm a full-fledged manufacturer, so the property of that part of the capacity will be some different, and the property of that part of capacity which has been undertaken by the foreign company, that okay, I will utilize this much of the capacity for this purpose, the cost per system we can work here. So the books of accounts has to be checked, or books of account has to be properly managed here. So the documentation part is one of the major part that is coming here. Till now, I have not discussed about the documentation part, but whenever I am discussing all these changes, in order to satisfy the transfer pricing officer, in order to satisfy the transfer pricing officer that okay, there is a change here, we have to keep all the documentation ready, and all this documentation should be contemporaneous document based on the complete analysis and based on the impact on that part here. Based on the impact, day before yesterday, I was listening to one of the senior most transfer pricing officer in one of the seminar. He was telling that he is very much open to interact with each of the taxpayer and understand how this TP is going to change here. Whether the TP has going to change due to COVID situation, whether if it going to change, what are the documentation that has been submitted for the purpose to justify their claim here. So in the transfer pricing analysis and the transfer pricing ALP determination, the documentation will play a vital role. Unless we keep all this documentation, these documentation should be contemporaneous documentation. We will not able to satisfy the transfer pricing officer about the changes, and the TPO will not suo moto is going to buy our points that there is a COVID impact. We have to demonstrate with evidence here that okay, there is an impact on the COVID into the business. The sales has come down. The cash flow is in the poor situation. There is no staff which is coming to my office. I'm not able to work. There is a low capacity license. Everything that has to be demonstrated by the fact of the cases. It has to be. So the TPO was very much open on that part, and he was saying that he is willing to. He is open to every issues here, but that every issue has to be presented well. If the fact is not presented well before the TPO, he won't be able to help us. So the contract manufacturing that we have discussed, the contract associated enterprises we have discussed, that how it is going to impact here. Independent third parties, yes, independent third party, one of the important parties there. Like every negotiation that has to be done like a third party in this situation. Like take a case here. If I'm a associate enterprise in the Indian company, which is subsidiary of the foreign company, which is a contract manufacturer of the manufacturing company, if he is not able to buy all the product which he earlier used to buy, then there should be a compensation model that should be achieved there. This means the ICO should able to negotiate this FCO and an arm length here, because there is a loss of opportunity with the ICO here. So the TPO has to go see that, okay, if there is a reduction if the foreign company is not able to buy, have you tried to renegotiate the contract? If there is a shifting from the production here to somewhere else, if you loss opportunity, where is the compensation? Whether you will receive the compensation or not. If that is there, we have to analyze. And please mind that this one, it is not only that part. It is not only the primary adjustment is going to take place. It is the secondary adjustment that also be going to impact it here. Sachin, next slide, please. What I have discussed, that it is all summing up right now. Economic adjustment for the LP. When we have to decide when we have to work for the LP, we have to find out how the LP has to work. First of all, we have to work from the quantitative analysis and after the qualitative analysis. And when we are doing the search, that part of this one, who is my comparable? And when I find out first of all, getting the comparable in the post-COVID situation, that will be a big challenge, because the database of the COVID situation, how much data is there, how much data that will be, because that we have to analyze, because whether this comparable with the MSME or not, where the MSME was located, whether it was located in the red zone, whether it was located in the green zone or orange zone, how much it has worked. So since there's a disruption here, so getting a comparable will be a big challenge right now. If we are getting the comparable, we are going to face big challenges in the case of the working capital adjustment, because the working capital is not the same as in our cases. Since it may happen, your comparable may get a cheap working capital right now because of the moratorium issue there, because the bank has given the loan, or the bank has financed something here. So we have to work out the capital adjustment here. Change in the price due to the government intervention. We know that government has regulated a lot of price into this COVID situation, like PPE and mask and sanitizer are being regulated by the government. A lot of medicines are being regulated by the government. If the prices are regulated by the government, we have to see that how it is going to be impacted here. So particularly in the case of healthcare sector, that is going here. Capacity adjustment, I have already discussed that capacity adjustment will have the great impact on that part, because we don't know how much capacity your comparable was working, and this capacity will not be reflected into the into the normal balance sheet or profit loss account. We have to dig out the director reports here, and we have to find out that capacity, how it has worked here. It may happen that your comparable may have 5 or 6 units. One unit may be working at 60%, one unit may be 80%, unit may be 40%. How you will compare this part here? So because right now we don't have the segregation here, because the comparable does not have the segregation here. So will be a big challenge for the purpose of capacity adjustment, how the capacity adjustment is taking place. Forest adjustment is one of the major issues that is going to take place here, because of the right now, if you see that import in the dollar rate has come to 75. So if you are depending upon the imported raw material or imported goods, you can say that okay, your import cost has gone up, so there is a low margin there. If you are importing and after that you are selling that, so there will be a low margin. But if you are the case of exporter, the margin will be a bit higher, but this margin will be the foreign exchange variation part here. So we have to segregate that foreign exchange variation issues here right now. Moratorium based interest adjustment that we have already discussed. Lending rates adjustment, yes, there will be lending issues that will come down here. So there will be adjustment that part here. IT setup cost and the work from home. It is one of the important new normal that is coming here. Particularly if I may say that I'm a chartered accountant into here, I'm working on the IT part here. I have to invest on the lot of IT infrastructure, because our staffs that they are not willing to come to the office, and we are trying to work from home, and how this work from home should be there, whether how the work from home should be effective there, and it is going to take place everywhere. So a lot of now after the post-COVID situation, you will see that there are a lot of investment on the IT sectors here, or on the IT infrastructure in a company here. Cloud, that is the cloud infrastructure adjustment that has to be taken place. And these adjustments are sometimes are non-extra, and these are the extraordinary cost here. So for the purpose of doing comparable, you have to remove this extraordinary cost here. So for this purpose, I'm discussing that issue. Geographical location. The company will find out which location is good for the purpose of that one. Sachinji, can you change, and can you tell me how much time I have? Hello.
जी प्रकाश भाई.
Hello.
Hello. हाँ जी sir.
How much time I have? So because I have to take some questions.
Sir, time तो 5:30 तक ही था. Anyway, we can conclude in few minutes.
Although there are not much questions, so you can take your time for 5-10 minutes for your presentation.
How much time it will take to complete further?
Look, sir, I can wrap it within, right now it is already 5:30. I can wrap it within 10 minutes here. Okay. But I would like to take more and more questions, because the issue that I'm discussing is more a practical issue, which cannot be put into the numbers as of now. But I would like to, I would like to hear from the participants here, if they have more questions, that I will able to reply their questions here, because that will help them And that will help me also in the case of the doing the transfer pricing and TP study report here, because this COVID has changed everything here.
So, sir, you can take your time for further 10 minutes to wrap up your presentation, and then whatever questions will be there, we will take that.
Okay,
Right,
ma'am.
sir?
Okay.
Okay,
I will finish within 10 minutes.
yes, sir. Yeah. Okay.
So one more part is that limited data. Earlier, you know that we used to the data of the Provis or capital line. The Provis and capital line we used to the data, and that data you use to the for the purpose of the doing the comparable. Now, under this situation, there will be a very much how much data that is there for the purpose of comparative. I am very doubtful about that part here, because a lot of companies right now is not working, or a lot of companies not reporting here. And how they will get the data if the company is not reporting their data to MCA? How they will get the data? So that part is there, because there's a poor infrastructure here. Requirement of the critical analysis of the industry, we have to do that part. TP adjustment due to the ideal capacity, as I already discussed, the capacity adjustment will be there. Benchmark, multi-year approach or the single approach. It is very important, very much interesting question here that we there. Earlier, when there was a single year data that we have to compare, we have lot of problem, and it was their problem that a industry cannot be compared with the single basis data. And after that, there will change in the act here, and after that, what the government has allowed, they have taken the 3 years multiple years data. Now, how long we can rely on the multi-year data, particularly in the COVID situation, where the multi-year data is going to help us or whether it's not going to help us? Because on that day when I was listening to the TPO, that TPO was saying that since it is a part of the statute till now, the government has not made any changes here. When the government has not made any changes here, we have to see that how do we have to make the ALP with the multi-year data, because multi-year data will be a big variations right now. If you go for the purpose of last 2 years data or last 2 year data, it is going to big change here. So that is big change, that have the big impact here. And I feel that it is better that revenue should come with some clarification on these type of issues, because these are the critical issues that will have the bigger impact onto that part here. Negotiation of the APA. It is one of the issues. Lot of APAs which are, we know that APAs are generally for the 5 years, 5 years with the rollback period of 4 years here. So I feel that it was a 9 years here. Lot of APA is going to be completed. Few APA is going to become, few APA is under the renegotiation period. What will happen to the transfer pricing rate or the margin rate which has been already fixed in the APA? On the date when I was hearing to the TPO, he was very much open that, okay, if some person who has the APA and if he comes for the purpose of APA saying that this margin is not achievable, then they are going to refresh it or renegotiate for the particular year. So we have to see that part here, that APA, how the APA has to be worked out, how that margin of the APA has to be kept here, and what are the factors best. But one more thing is that when we are approaching to the APA commissioner or the APA department, we have to approach with the complete backup document saying that how we are not able to achieve this margin because of the market situation, because of the COVID situation, and how the COVID has impacted here. And this COVID should not only impact you, it should impact a whole industry purpose here. Suppose that if you are in manufacturing of the shoes, so we have to find out how the shoe making industry has impacted due to this one, how the mobile manufacturing has been impacted that part, how the drug manufacturing has been impacted into this part. It may happen that a shoe manufacturing company has been impacted, but the pharmaceutical company has not been impacted here. So we have to look into that part also. Sachinji, next slide, please. I have to wrap up. A robust document that I've already mentioned that we have to complete, we have to maintain with the robust documentation part. Unless we have the robust documentation in the TP, we won't be able to succeed the TP audit here. We have to, when we have voted for the TP audit as well as the TP analysis by the TPO, when we have to submit our study report here, that study report should be based on the contemporaneous document. If you are not able to justify our stand, we may not able to just because we may not be able to get a good response from the department here, or we may not justify our that part here. So be ready with the robust documentation, not only for the purpose of TPO, but DRP as well as the ITAT purpose or the at the higher forum. Sachin, next part. We have already discussed the PE part in our first part of slide, because we have already told about the OECD, how the OECD has come with the PE issues here, how the Indian government has come. Indian government has not come with the PE till now. Indian government has come, I feel that Indian government has come only with the purpose of stay till now. But what will happen if due to the overstay, there is a service fee, there is agency fee, if there is a installation fee is there, that has to be seen that part, how we have to seek the exemption from that part here. The OECD has taken a stand that since these are the temporary disruption, that should not be counted for that part. Suppose that there is an installation fee which is there, installation fees from the OECD country or non-OECD country, it is 6-month period is there installation fee for the stay. If due to this COVID, the installation fee goes more than 6 months here, or that part here. So the foreign company which was thinking that, okay, there will be no PE of me because he has to complete the work within 3 months. Now he has to complete the work will be completed in 8 months here. Whether this COVID will be taken as a temporary disruption or whether it will not taken a temporary disruption, that has to be seen here. And it has to be seen how it is going to, how the revenue comes on this issue. With this, I feel that more or less I have broadly presented my paper here, that what is the going to impact. I have not come into any numbers here because it is totally, discussion was only the fact oriented, economic oriented. I cannot figure out any number till now, but yes, if there is some question where we can discuss on the number part here, I can will like to address that question here. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Now I'm ready to take up the questions here. I hope that I have taken less than 10 minutes to finish this.
Very well. Yeah, very well covered, Prakash sir. You have done very well. Over to you, Asha.
Thank you, Prakashi, for such a beautiful explanations of the COVID impact. We have few questions. First of all, we should, I think we can take that questions. And one is from Mr. KJ Tech. He is asking, sir, what is your view about impact of all this discussion? It is more relevant for financial year 2021 or 1920?
I will tell you that it is going to impact both the financial year 2020, 1920 and 2021, both the financial, and I don't know how long it will going to impact here, because the disruption which has started, the COVID disruption, is not going to finish within a visible time period. I don't see when it is going to be finished here. It will have a big impact, not only for the purpose of 1920, for the purpose of 2021 also. Take a case I have also cited here. If you are export oriented unit, if you are manufactured for the purpose of export, and your export was supposed to take place after 23rd of March, but due to the COVID situation, your export is blocked. You are not able to export this one. So what has happened? Your finished good is still in your godown. When the finished goods are still in your godown, you have to see how to value the finished goods. It may happen that you won't be able to value the finished goods, because the finished goods, it happened that it is much lesser than the cost. So your profitability will come down. If your profitability will come down, it may happen that when the next year, when you get the chance, the market has already, there is no requirement in the market, or the market will not take that product here, or where the A will tell that, okay, I'm not going to take this product here. So there will be a big loss here. So the COVID impact is not going to be finished only for the purpose of the financial year 1920, because of the 7 days in 1920 or the 8 days in 1920. It has a big impact on the 1920, 2021, and I don't know whether it were 21, 22 also, because I can see that lot of changes are taking place in the multinational enterprises. You will be, one thing that I would like to share, I will just out of the box here. I was just coming to understand that right now in the High Court and Supreme Court only e-filing is taking place or the virtual court is taking place. I have come to understand this virtual court is not will be there for at least for the January and February. This means from the February onwards, only the physical court will take place here. If you can understand, if they are talking about the January onwards, this means the whole financial year of 2021 is going to be on the limbo right now. So right now, this means the COVID impact right now is there, is going to be differently, is going to be take place. It is going to take your all 2021. We cannot find that situation is becoming normal. In the Delhi itself, when the government announced that they will start the economic activity, the case is going so high here, then the government is trying to reclose again, go for the lockdown. And I don't know whether the lockdown will take place, re-lockdown will take place from the 15th onwards or not. So there is a uncertainty everywhere. Uncertainty is there. No one can say what will happen tomorrow.
And further, in addition to your views, I also think whatever changes or implementation we need to do in our business policy, that has to be analyzed today itself. Because it's not only about that how TP report will be prepared, it's all about how you are going to change your business policies and strategies. So all the COVID impact has to be analyzed today. कि क्या जो भी आपने जितनी चीजें आज बताई हैं सारी, तो आई थिंक कि इनका
यस मैं बता रहा हूँ कि ये जो टीपी का जो इम्पैक्ट है, आपके 31 मार्च 2020 का जो प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट है, it has already impacted.
Yes.
Lots of goods are still lying in the godown. They have not been exported here. Lot of things are due to slowdown. Europe was on the slowdown. Europe तो पहले से जा चुका था, वो कहते हैं उसने पहले ही लॉकडाउन चला गया था यूरोप. And those export order which was meant for the Europe was totally blocked.
That was affected.
Those export which were for the US is totally blocked. When the export is not taking place, now export of goods is not taking place, export of services is not taking place. Those BPO who used to work for the client for the companies in USA, those BPO are sitting idle because there is no taker of the services in USA and UK. I know that a lot of companies, they are sitting idle here. Under this situation, we have to rearrange, we have to realign after our transfer pricing. The foreign company is not going to reimburse the cost per system. Forget this part. I'm in touch with a lot of foreign company outside India, in fact US and Europe. They are saying, प्रकाश जी, मेरा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को आप, मेरा जो एग्रीमेंट को आप रीड्राफ्ट करो. अर्लियर जो मैंने पे कर दिया, अब तो मैं इतना नहीं पे कर सकता क्योंकि मेरे पास ना यहाँ मार्केट है, ना मैं कर सकता हूँ, नहीं मैं पे कर सकता हूँ. या फिर आप बोलो कि जो हमारी इंडियन सब्सिडरी को बोलो कि आप अपना खुद से मार्केट ढूंढ लो, मैं आपको इतना मार्केट में मैं आपके सामान को परचेज नहीं कर सकता. इसका मतलब आई कैन नॉट कंपनसेट यू ऑन द फुल कॉस्ट प्लस मार्जिन में, मैं कंपनसेट नहीं कर सकता हूँ. और दे आर नॉट एबल टू. और बोलते हैं कि अगर कोई बीपीओ तो बोलते हैं कि यस आप अपना कॉस्ट रिड्यूस करो और अपना कैपेसिटी को रिड्यूस करो. अगर बीपीओ कॉस्ट को कैपेसिटी को रिड्यूस करता है, देन देयर विल बी ऑपरेशनल लॉस. What will happen to the operational loss? Whether the foreign company is going to compensate? No, foreign company is saying no, I am going to pay for the services only, whatever the services is there. Under this situation, there will be a big impact on the part here.
Yes. So going further, sir, एक next query है WhatsApp पे आई है, रमेश हैं, Mr. रमेश पूछना चाहते हैं that do we need to mention in the report the quantum due to COVID impact? Any quantum need to be reported anywhere?
I feel that I will be happy that he will mention, but can he quantify? The issue is that how you will quantify. I wish that he used to mention here that okay, due to this COVID, I was not able to sell this much of product here. But if he is able to quantify that amount, that will be good here. But if he able to quantify, whether how he will able to quantify, what will be the certainty of quantification, what will be the documentation he is quantification. If he is quantifying, it is very good here, very encouraging here. But please make sure whatever you are quantifying here, keep a proper data and proper record for this purpose here. That should not backfire you.
Yes.
That should not backfire you. Please be sure here, because that it should not say that okay, it is not for the purpose of any figure you have taken, but whenever you are doing any quantification of any things here, please be ready with the working paper. Please be ready with the documentation, and that documentation should be reliable, because the TPO is going to drill you.
Because it will not be only about the quantification of sale which has been impacted. It will also be about the expenses part also. Overall impact has to be quantified. Only one thing cannot be quantified.
You have to take all the things here into consideration.
Yes. And another question is there a possibility of suspension of TP provision due to COVID situation for a year or two?
I hope that I hope that she should not say like this one if she is a chartered accountant, because a chartered accountant,
it's not mentioned, just GK is mentioned as his name, his or she, her, I don't know. But
as a chartered accountant, TP is a big professional opportunity for us. If a client asks that there can be postponement of the TP provision for a 1 year or 2 year, that I can understand. But for a chartered accountant, since it is a big bread earning for us, we should not ask this question.
But what I have experienced in past few years, especially after this GST, what I have seen is कि सबसे पहले CAs बोलते हैं कि यार GST audit, let it be abolished for a year or two because system ऐसा था वैसा था. तो CAs are सबसे पहले आगे होते हैं कि let it be abolished for a year or two.
In fact, as a chartered accountant, we should say
that kind of thinking.
As a chartered accountant, we should say that this type of audit should be there.
We should not kick our earning. Sorry, we should not stop our earning.
Yes,
definitely.
No one does. Actually, it is my personal opinion. I'm not talking this one. We should
no, sir. I completely second you.
It is my personal opinion that I should not cry for the industry, because the industry does not cry for us.
Definitely, it's absolutely agree. But this is what actually happening. Most of the time, CAs are in front row asking for the extension and for the abolishment and all things. If let it be there. Okay.
Who is the sufferer? If the industry is suffered, let the industry should raise this voice through the FICCI, SOCHAM or PhD
Ideally,
chamber.
Ideally, it should be like that only. Through the
industry. It happens otherwise.
Okay, sir. We have next query. If the companies are going to suffer losses, where is the question of income by way of profit and additions on account of transfer pricing adjustment, etc.?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. He's asking if companies are going to suffer losses, where is the question of income by way of profit and additions on account of TP adjustments, etc.? He's saying कि जब losses ही होने हैं तो profit का और income की adjustment की बात कहाँ से आएगी TP में?
No. I feel that he is a bit not on the point here. Look, a company may suffer the loss here, but the TP adjustment is qua the transaction, is qua the valuation issue of transactions here. If the TPO can still make the upward adjustment in the transaction price or the transaction part, and due to these transactions here, there can be some addition here. If this addition takes place here, first of all, if the addition takes place here, even if you are not suffering, if you are not coming into the profit, there can be misreporting or underreporting also. First of one point here, penalty will definitely come here. The penalty, when the penalty comes, it is the one part here. Second is the TP penalty will also come because the pricing is not perfect here. There is an adjustment of the TP here. So saying that there is no profit here is not going to help you here, because transfer pricing is not about the profitability. Transfer pricing is about the valuation of the transaction. If you see the transfer pricing, transaction pricing is the pricing issue, is the valuation issue of the transaction, is not the value, is the profitability. It's nothing to do with the profitability. Hope I am clear here.
जी सर
की वॉइस ब्रेक हो गई है.
मैं फिर से एक्सप्लेन कर दूं.
Absolutely clear प्रकाश सर.
हाँ. अच्छा,
मैं
सुमित
फिर
जी
से
वॉइस
एक्सप्लेन कर
क्लियर
दूं?
थी?
जी क्लियर क्लियर।
ओके,
आपके एंड पर
maybe
आशा कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी
internet.
तो
It may be at my
आशा जी
end.
एनी अदर
Okay,
क्वेरी
Prakash,
और वे कैन
not
वी
an issue.
कंक्लूड?
Yes, sir. One more query is there. Basically, I want to know कि like in TP there is a concept of this primary adjustment and secondary adjustment. So any impact that this COVID is का जो भी impact होगा, that will be treated as primary adjustment only or secondary one?
देखिए, अगर प्राइमरी एडजस्टमेंट है तो सेकेंडरी एडजस्टमेंट होता है।
Okay.
पहला प्राइमरी एडजस्टमेंट अगर है प्राइमरी एडजस्टमेंट, अगर देखा जाए सेकंड व्हाट इज सेकेंडरी एडजस्टमेंट? सेकेंडरी एडजस्टमेंट मींस ये है कि अगर आपकी कोई प्राइमरी एडजस्टमेंट हुई है और उसमें आपने वो पेमेंट को जो कि आपके एई से निकलता है ड्यू टू एडजस्ट, वो आपने नहीं ला पाए हैं इंडिया में, तो उसके कारण उसका एक सर्टेन रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऐड किया जाता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड द सेकेंडरी एडजस्टमेंट। उसको दैट इज कॉल्ड द, उसको एक ट्रीट किया जाता है कि वो लोन ट्रांजेक्शन है और उस लोन ट्रांजेक्शन के ऊपर आपको इंटरेस्ट लगता है। तो फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ सेकेंडरी ट्रांजेक्शन देयर इज prerequisite is that there is a primary adjustment. Now, due to the COVID, what will have? There will be a primary adjustment. Or if there is a primary adjustment, the secondary adjustment is coming from the law. It is not coming from the COVID. Secondary adjustment is the creation of the statute, where the primary adjustment is creation of the your transaction that is doing here, transfer pricing.
Okay.
Incorrect valuation part.
Okay, sir. Then lastly, I want to ask from you, आपसे and Sachin ji से, like, what you suggest or you expect from the government कि what kind of policy or any guideline that should be issued, keeping in mind this transfer pricing and international transaction thing.
Yes. In fact, I will suggest that the government has to be very proactive and they have to make their transfer pricing law, which is tuned to the current situation, or current recession in the market. This is a extraordinary situation. This is a totally recession in the industry. There's a totally recession in the market. When the GDP is going down, you cannot expect the tax should go up and you should collect more tax. First of all, please understand, please be a very realistic situation. So henceforth, when we are doing the transfer pricing is not for the one country, is we have to understand the business sentiments in the associated enterprises country also. So we have to take the overall understanding of the global situation, or particularly for an industry, and how this industry is working into that part, and what is the problem with the SSC here. If we are very much realistic to the SSC problem, then we see that there can be a better compliance of the TP part here. Otherwise, there will be some TP, but it can lead to a more and more adjustment if the government is not going to do anything. If there is going to be more and more adjustment, more and more litigation will arise here, and more litigation arise. Ultimately, litigation does not benefit the SSC and does not benefit the department also. Particularly if you have seen that in the case of transfer pricing adjustment, even when the COVID situation was not there, lot of demand were made, but all the demand has fallen into the department, and the department has lost many more cases in the ITT level here, because ITT has realized that these are the genuine problem here. You cannot simply sit or go into that part here. So please be realistic. My request to the department is that please be realistic, please be cooperative with the SSC, and please understand the SSC problem. Then you will able to claim the good tax here. Rather than otherwise, it will simply डंडा मारने से कुछ नहीं होगा.
Okay, Sachin ji, would you like to share your thoughts in brief? Sachin ji?
सचिन जी म्यूट है आपका.
I think Prakash sir has covered everything in detail, and
जी आपके क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स के बाद ही हम कंक्लूड करेंगे.
due to paucity of time, we are not able to run through all the slides. So we'll definitely get some another day opportunity
जी
So because the learning should not be incomplete.
Yes.
And apart from this, the dividend versus buyback was very interesting discussion, and at the same time, demand versus supply, it was also very important. So business process is
Uh,
Sachin sir,
Sir,
Mute.
I think his
Sachin sir.
bandwidth is a little bit low. His internet has been disconnected, I guess.
Sachin ji,
so let us conclude the session.
I think yes. Sumit ji, please conclude with your final
So
remarks.
mm, this was a great session. A 4-day session was great learning experience for all of us. I personally thank, as well as on the behalf of Team CASA, all the four panelists, Ankit ji, Gaurav ji, now Prakash Sinha sir and Sachin Sinha sir, to give us a very learning experience. And thanks Asha ji as well. And of course, thanks to our Sumit ji, who has been organizing a ton of webinars in these days to enhance our learning. And so let's have final concluding remarks on this TP webinar series.
Thank you, Nikhil Bhai, for your wonderful remark. And first of all, thanks to both of you, Asaji and Nikhilji, for wonderfully coordinating in all 4 days. And speaker of the day, Prakash Sinha ji, and along with Sachin Sinha ji. And in absentia, Ankit Goyal ji and another speaker,
Got Ankit Arora ji and Gaurav
Gaurav
Goyal
uh,
ji.
Ankit Arora ji and
Gaurav Goyal.
Gaurav Goyal
Gaurav
ji.
Goyal.
So
Goyal.
thanks to all four panelists who have made this transfer pricing course successfully. So we have learned a lot of things about this transfer pricing and many more things yet to learn, and will study practically after getting the client. So इस पर हम दोबारा फिर से प्रोग्राम कराएंगे लेटर ऑन जब भी इसका समय आएगा. तो प्रकाश सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर वंडरफुल डेलीवरेशन. बहुत अच्छा
Sir,
आपने कोविड इम्पैक्ट से रिलेटेड बताया.
sir, so nice to you, and I am especially thank to you and your CASA team for giving me this opportunity. मैंने तो अपना छोटा सा विचार ही रखना था, लेकिन हाँ, आप लोगों ने मौका दिया, इसके लिए मैं बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद सर.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you
sir.
to
Thank
each
you.
one
Thank
of
you,
you.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
Thank
Sachin
you,
bhai.
Asa ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
to each viewers for wonderfully attending, and thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.